What's up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of Sweat Equity, episode 71.
71.
Give me a basketball player, football player that's 71.
It's got to be a left tackle or something.
Yeah,
that's
it's
an
gotta be a
O-lineman
lineman.
number. But we're trying to get out of our O-lineman phase right now. Summer's coming up, so
We're
can't be
out.
big bodied.
Yeah, no more. No, actually, I'm not gonna. Anyways, one thing that you got on the docket today that I'm interested in and want to dive into is these bounties and essentially creating like challenges for creators. We're doing it with a few brands. I think you're doing it with a few brands as well.
Yeah.
There's something interesting there, and I think it's early too.
Extremely.
Very early on the side of being able to create like these different content challenges, have different milestones, payout structures to not only like activate affiliates, but to get brand ambassadors in play and all sorts of different people. So kick it off for me. Let's jump into it.
Yeah, so what TikTok Shop did was it democratized everyone's ability to make content that would drive sales. And that was really interesting because if you think about how brands could make money online before, there was obviously affiliate through link in bio or whatever it may be, but there wasn't a direct action you could take on a video to then go convert. There's obviously Instagram Shop that didn't take off for its own reasons. What we're seeing now is the emergence of this clipping industry. So a lot of podcasts have been doing this over the last 3 years. Basically, they start all of these different pages. You know, it would be something like Sweat Equity Clips, and we would have some sort of VA just clipping every single decent thing that we say on this podcast, posting as a clip and just hoping one of those scores a home run. Yeah. What's starting to change is similarly how TikTok Shop evolved because there was an intermediary between the brand and the creator in the form of agencies or these creator communities where they trained them. And that led to better output, right? So the creators made things that worked more because there were people training them on how to do so. And similarly to that, I think now we're starting to see a lot of these non-e-commerce oriented promotions for bounties. So it's like you get paid on a CPM basis. So the one that I was studying recently was actually a freaking sponsored post by these guys, WAP, and they have released a clipping feature. So basically it's like create a community around, an album release. In this instance, it was Drake and Party Next Door's collab album. They're paying 70 cents per 1,000 views. So not a lot of money, but if you're someone who can like meme your way to 20 million views, you can actually make some cash. And, for a lot of people that was, don't get it twisted. These are not like 44-year-old people with, high overhead. This is like a bunch of college kids or 18-year-olds that don't, they're working minimum wage. And like, this is a better way for them to make money. And the format didn't matter because on TikTok or on Instagram, the trending audio is, if that can get reshared, it kind of creates a meme or a trend. And what was interesting about how they did it was there was a guy, Eddie Cumberbatch, I believe, who's a pretty like big creator, especially in the like money kind of course guru world. And he was the guy who brokered the competition. So he worked with Party's team and they created this whole community. All of a sudden, like, I think what was really interesting about the competition is it was, go react to the, songs would be one format, but it also created new formats. Like one of the formats was Die Trying by Drake, which is like kind of, people are saying it's a Hey There Delilah type of song from Drake, right? And
damn, what a classic.
Amazing. That's
the Hey There Delilah.
Yeah.
Oh my.
And so the song is a little bit kind of nostalgic, sad. Like everyone's like, you're driving through, the countryside, hair blowing in the wind type of track. And so what emerged out of that was all of these videos where athletes, someone like Kyrie or KD, it would be the first shot was Kyrie or KD and Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant. If you're listening to the pod, don't know who they are. I don't know what to tell you, but it would be them saying something kind of sad, melancholy, and be like, yeah, man, like those were good times, whatever. And then at the drop, it would show them in their prime in a nostalgic way. And this took over. And all of a sudden, everyone's making this for their favorite athlete who used to have a prime. That's amazing for Drake, right? Yeah. Because all of a sudden this song is getting played over and over and over again on these 5-10 million view videos. And what's insane is just, copyright laws thrown out the window. I mean, these are like sports clips with an officially licensed song. You know, this is a new medium you could never really create in the past. And so it's really unlocked like this new ecosystem. And if you take, you know, music out of it, like Netflix did guerrilla marketing back in the day on Twitter for a lot of its different movies. So Bird Box, the thing with Sandra Bullock.
Yep.
The meme where she would like cover her eyes and then,
her eyes were already covered.
Huh?
She had to like be blindfolded.
Whatever was going on. Yeah. Like the Netflix planted that and they were amplifying that with a bunch of different meme pages. And so this is sort of the evolution of that guerrilla marketing tactic where someone like Warner Brothers, who has a big movie upcoming, could set this community bounty and then just see what transpires, see what, you know, grows out of that. And I think everyone views a lot of these bounties as, you know, get the most views for my product, my physical product, but where a lot of this opportunity actually is in these things that are more cultural. You know, I actually got a DM from a guy, this is fascinating, who it's a lawyer paying a CPM to get people to create views around his FTC case. He's filing a class action lawsuit. And he was like, yeah, we'll pay you $4 per 1,000 views if you create a video about this lawsuit and get eyeballs on it so that there's more grassroots. And it just clicked with me, like, this is a completely new marketing channel, right? This doesn't exist anymore because the lottery ticket that every video on social is now harnessable by any sort of business if they're savvy enough. So I'm starting to like, there's a guy actually that hit me up. We're thinking about building an app for this. So think, you know, we like Tinder for these competitions, right? Where if you're someone who's just like looking to, you know, make some extra side cash, pure CPM basis, join that FT. And this is not a paid promo. The app's not even out, but like you could theoretically, if you're a, you know, no-name creator, 300 views, you could just swipe through, choose 4 things, and then just pump 30 videos a month trying to meme your way into 1 million views and make some cash, right? Like $4,000 for, you know, making that FTC suit go viral. No brainer for the lawyer, right? And I think you're going to see these rates go up and there's going to be more incentives, more kickers, more ways for this to be monetizable. But dude,
it's super interesting.
It is fascinating. I think, the last part I'll say is I actually got chirped by Drake's team.
I know this
because of that video.
Because of the video. Because it was Party's team, right? And like Drake did it.
Yeah. And so Drake's guy was all salty at me, which was kind of sick that I got chirped by Drake's team. So
of course, that's a W.
It's a huge dub
because, in my opinion, I feel like Drake knows who you are at least.
He's seen.
There's definitely
he's seen the content. I'll put that
100%.
And he the worst part is it probably popped on his feed and he was pissed.
Yeah, he was like, yo,
what the fuck is
this, Gerald?
Yeah. So, and I was riding for him in the comments. No, you know, pause. But like, everyone was talking about like, he's phony. This album's corny. I was like, this is genius. Like because that's my dog. So
it's still new and it's still a fresh idea in a newer channel. But what I'll say is streamers have been doing this.
100%.
And
you've seen the Steak stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Where they watermark. So Steak will take a viral meme from 2017. That was just it's like they take the Twitter Hall of Fame, basically, you know, proven memes that they know will go viral, recycle it, but then they watermark it with their logo. And Twitter has to community notes that and say, this is a non-disclosed advertisement for a gambling website, which in my opinion, I don't think that really helps Twitter. You know, like that's still a dub for Steak because now they get their name out of there and it's so, yeah.
Probably somebody's going to trip me in the comments, but this is what, for example, like Andrew Tate, like how he became relevant.
Totally.
This.
He pioneered this in the podcast space.
Well, they also did a ton of live streaming, right? They did the podcast, they did live streaming, and then they would have just all these different accounts clipping, and then they would pay on a CPM basis or probably like a view basis, milestone basis. It's also, you know, why you see like Kai Cenat when he did that 30-day stream that he was at the crib and like Kevin Hart came through, Drewski came through. The reason you saw it everywhere was because of this. Now, the halo effect that this creates is once, especially for curation pages, once it starts getting shared everywhere, people love to continue sharing it because they know that's a winning piece of content. So if I'm a theme page and let's say 3 competing theme pages post a piece of content about it, I now need to post about it or else I'm irrelevant, right? And so it kind of forces this.
It's a crazy network effect.
Yeah. Because you feel like, again, if you're a theme page, you have to be putting out some of the most relevant content. You have to be fast. And so you have to take this winning content and also publish on your page. And it does. It creates that network effect where it feels like a takeover.
Totally.
When Kai did that, that live stream event, it was everywhere on Twitter. It was everywhere on Instagram and on TikTok, to the point where I tuned in a little bit because I'm like, I want to see, like what Drewski and Kev.
It's fascinating. I mean, the streaming stuff is so one of those things that feels outside of mainstream right now. That's going to be so big in like 3 years.
Did you know me, Colin, and Oren have the biggest marketing live stream in the world?
No, but that's hilarious.
This is what we
addressing
claim.
The allegations.
This is what we claim because it would get like there's no other marketing live streams.
No.
And we get
which just shows the state of the marketing industry.
Yeah.
if that's you're getting wrecked.
We're getting 2,000 to 3,000 views every single time we do one of these live streams. The one hard thing about live streams is it gets better and more people start to watch it the longer you do it.
Absolutely.
Which is like the grind too. Because
so hard.
Because we'll do it, today's what, Wednesday? So we'll do one tomorrow again, and we'll stream it, I think, on my Twitter, maybe Oren's YouTube, and like Colin's LinkedIn or something along those lines.
You can go live on LinkedIn?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And it's funny because then it will show, like with Colin's, we always do addressing the allegations or like my confessions, and then that's the title on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And
it's hilarious.
It's hilarious. But it's difficult because, I'm doing it at like 7 or 8 p.m. They're doing it at 6 p.m. their time. And so like by the time we finish, I'm like, it's 10:30, 11 my time. Yeah, that's the hard part. But I think there's a big move on the streaming side to be able to do this and then essentially create these clip farms. When I wasn't at My First Million when they did this, it was, or at The Hustle when they did this. But after I left.
Well, they copied All In too.
I don't know if All In did something like this.
All In did it first. So it was All In Talk was the account. I know the guy who did it.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
What I think it was, I only know the MFM one. So they did a cool challenge where it was, they wanted to reach 1 million downloads a month. And they created a challenge where it was like, hey, we'll give, I think 2 winners $5,000, one for like the most viral video and one for the best video. And it created, and there was a deadline of like, yeah, you have to do it within this 30-day gap.
Mm-hmm.
People were remaking like South Park type characters for MFM.
Totally.
Like Sean and Sam.
Yeah.
A lot of other people were just making really good clips. People were making green screens.
Well, think about the proliferation of this with AI stuff now too.
Yeah.
You can literally
opens up a whole nother
recreate the pod. Like there's so much that you can do.
And so they created the challenge where it was like, in that 30-day period, we're going to have 2 winners. We're going to pay them out $10,000 for these 2 outcomes or these 2 milestones. And I know it's hard to like directly measure it actually blowing up the pod or, getting it to over 1 million downloads. But I know the next month after they hit like I think they talked about, they got like 1.2, 1.3 million views. I think an interesting thing for us is, one, we could do the same thing. I don't know if we have enough listeners to do that, but one thing I think we can do for the pod is we can hire VAs, and then what you're saying, have them use AI to clip up and have so many different channels for us.
Yeah, I think there's definitely some snippets that could have, been like comic relief vibes. And then, I mean, obviously we've had a lot of clips of segments go viral from the pod. So there's definitely a move there that will, eat what you kill, right? Like we got to kind of, eat our own dog food here and try it. But
why don't we make this like an actual challenge for ourselves that we document live on the pod? Like, let's hire a VA, 1 or 2 VAs, and be like, hey,
I just hired 2 more. So this could be like your sole job.
Yeah, your sole job is to clip all of our content and run like these 3 to 4 channels.
Yeah.
Like totally. Rob's doing it right now with his organic content or any like pod content. I forget what it's called. It's like cowboy.
He's got like 5 of them, dude. Yeah. It's so funny getting hit with that too. Because the algorithm knows. The algorithm will like amplify this to your viewers, my viewers, and the Sweat Equity viewers on Instagram. Because even when it's got like 7 likes and no engagement, I'll like see one of those random like rob the bank closet videos. Yeah. And which is like, great job, Rob. Those are like, the fact that you're reaching people with that is just so savvy. But yeah, man, this is a big thing. I think it's going to change a lot in terms of overall the shift of performance marketing. Like Meta should be quaking in their boots right now because those dollars are quickly leaving them. If you're, looking like you mentioned, we couldn't quantify We couldn't quantify that it worked with the pod, but it did.
Yeah.
It was clear that it did. I think there is that has already started with influencer marketing, right? You give a jacket to a menswear influencer and all of a sudden sales just go up. Wow, seems like this worked, right? Like that is already something that a lot of people are kind of, mindful of in various industries in terms of influencer seeding and, measuring like CPMs as the target. Like I know HexClad does this. Like their gifting program, they literally don't care about revenue whatsoever. They just set a goal of millions of impressions every month to generate from the program, and that is worthwhile to them. And they generated like a 30-cent CPM by seeding all of these food creators. What does the CPM entail? I don't know. I mean, it's like the product was shown one time in a 1 million view video. I think that counts. So it's like similar things I think can happen with virtually any business. The one that really opened my eyes though was like this lawyer thing. Like when white collar services and different companies are getting a hold of this, think about all these AI companies trying to acquire users, like think about if Anthropic was running this competition as a way to make everyone think that they were the default chatbot instead of ChatGPT. I think that could be brilliant for them. Perplexity should do this instead of Google. So there's really any sort of business can run this because all you're trying to do is just get eyeballs at a like fixed cost, not necessarily an upfront payment. Because that's the problem with ads. It's like spend 50,000, see how it goes. If you can set a CPM and just drive that engagement, and especially if you're someone who commands those communities of people and you can get like actual results from the engagement, like there's a new ecosystem there.
And if you have a founder-led brand with diehard customers or diehard fans, like this will absolutely crush.
Absolutely.
There's 3 brands right now that we're launching essentially a content challenge where we're seeding, but you're also opting into a challenge that there's different milestones, there's different CPMs that we're trying to hit, but it's a 30-day challenge. And at the end of it as well, there is a grand prize for one outlier, whether that it's the most viral video or the best story, whatever. It's dependent on each brand, but there's one outlier. One winner for that outlier content. I have a feeling it's going to absolutely crush, but the key to those are those brands have like a founder that
religious following.
Yeah. Absolutely religious following. And I think it's going to be lights out, but it creates an interesting flywheel too, where at least using the software that we're using, you can pay out based on milestones. So like, let's say that milestone is $100.
Are you using Revo?
Huh?
Are you using Revo or what are you using?
No, I don't want to talk about it yet because we're inking a deal and I don't want to like.
Oh yeah. No free pub.
Not until we ink a deal.
Yeah, I love that. And if you know who you are.
But what was I saying? Oh, you can set these milestones, right? Where let's say it's $500 for a 100,000 view video or whatever the case may be. What's cool is when you pay that milestone, right? Or you pay somebody that milestone based on their video, the performance of the video, and it matching the criteria of like the different videos you want them to make. You now own the rights to that content.
Yeah.
You now own that IP. And so now you can be creating a really good ad flywheel where I know this content performs well. I'm paying for the performance. So I'm paying for the reach. I'm paying for the eyeballs, but I'm also paying for the IP. And now I get to put it into my ad account and know it's a winning piece of creative. That is a really interesting flywheel for companies.
/ throw every single one of those videos into one of these new AIs that can analyze visuals, and all of a sudden you have a frame by frame winning formula that you can just go repeat on autopilot.
Throwing around like AI, what softwares are you using for something like this?
I'll say this, beware of the cap, because I'm probably 0 for my last 5 on someone being like, we just changed the social listening industry on Twitter. And then you download it and it's just absolute hot garbage. Like, I'm actually going to take a shot right now at this guy. His name's like Waleed on Twitter. And he literally put out a thing. He was like, we just created the best tool for viral social listening. I look up CMOS gummies. That's a pretty direct keyword, right? Like, and it shows me popsicle videos. Like, at some point, you can't hide behind the user error excuse with your product. Like, if you're shipping something and I can't look up a basic, extremely massive like category keyword, CMOS gummies is a huge product category, especially on TikTok. And my initial query can't return anything relevant to me. It's just all like AI slop or, popsicle videos. Like, it's called spy talk. It doesn't work. Icon is the same way. Like it's like a lot of these different, Arcads does a good job with the AI UGC stuff because they're very gray hat in their DNA. Like they're down for the FTC violation. They want the smoke. They want to get sued. That's their posture.
You didn't like Icon?
I think Icon is valuable in the sense that it, can repurpose a lot of your B-roll. But it doesn't generate compelling scripts, hooks, or anything good on the AI UGC side. So I don't think it can make net new things. And, Recharm is a software that already does what Icon's doing, which is like upload all your footage and then we'll just turn it into an ad. Retimer's been doing that for, 2 years. So to be honest with you, I'm not very impressed by most of these AI softwares. I'm impressed by like the big boys, obviously. Like I think, any of the, I'm sure Sora and all of the different like image production, like Runway is amazing. It animates images. So like you can generate an image in Midjourney, animate it with Runway, and then tell a story with, an AI voiceover with 11 Labs. Like I think that is a medium that can work for people, but most of the things that I've seen on the growth marketing side, especially in the last like 6 weeks, just piss me off because there's lying to get demos.
I think all the shilling I've been seeing is just definitely paid shilling.
There's so much
on
shilling.
Twitter.
It makes me never want to have the pod sponsored, low key. Like
buy like an AI tool.
Yeah, for
I have no
sure.
problem if like Mercury wants to sponsor us.
Yeah.
Like there's certain brands that
Amex.
Yeah, like there's certain brands I'm not sure.
No, I know. It's honestly, man, like I just have really not been impressed with them. And I actually put out a tweet. I was like, what has your experience been with these AI UGCs? Bro, tell me why. Everyone was like, it's really frustrating. I haven't gotten great results. And then the only people that chime in are like the head of growths at these companies or a paid shill. And they just share the same stuff, right? It's the, my dad was the Kardashians' butt doctor for 15 years. And this is everything you need to have a huge peach. And it's just, she's narrating that and it's just a turbo thought on the front. And then it just cycles through like all these different images. And I'm like, okay, so you're just like lying, right? Like this is promotion of a product, non-disclosed with false claims. Like that is actually just not legal, And so
you've never made an ad like that?
That's not what we're talking about.
That's the same.
That's not what we're talking about.
You've shown me ads like this.
That's not what we're talking about, okay?
Motherfucker wants to be the police now.
Nah, I don't want to be the police. I want the cap to stop. Like
we do have a saying around here. Like we say, "Stop the cap."
Yeah, like I just want the cap.
Online, if John, Brian, whatever.
Yeah, I just want the cap to stop. And that was borderline cap out of me, I would say. I mean, my original, a lot of the viral hits from back in the day, they were a little, on the gray side. But that just is what it is. Now I'm trying to go mainstream. But I just don't think that there's a lot of truth in the promotion of software, especially on Twitter and LinkedIn at this point. So your first guess, if you see someone posting about a software, should be this is a paid shill. And particularly if it's, from a certain set of folks that have an engagement pod. But I'll leave that there.
I'm there with you. I am very interested in, let's do this thing, hire VAs, clip up a bunch of our top pods.
Like my post for WAP was sponsored. That was a sponsored post, Like
the one that
the Drake video. Like that
how
was.
How much did they pay for it?
They paid me like $12.50.
They hit a lick.
They hit a fucking lick, like insane lick, right?
They hit a because it got 800,
750.
So okay, round up. That's 8.
Bro, at South by, every single person I would like talk to, they'd be like, "Yo, I think did you just talk about Drake online or something?" Like it was crazy. Like having
it finally happening, you started getting recognized.
Having like a viral moment right before going to a tech conference, like talking about a tech product, going to a tech conference. It was too much. The ego was getting just stroked.
Yeah, it's interesting feeling when somebody like recognizes you and is like, dude, I love your content, or I consume all your shit. Although I got called, I was working with somebody in Miami, and they like were looking at me like they knew who I was, but we were working together on shooting a bunch of stuff for Tier. And then he texts the next morning. He comes and hits me up because I sent him something on Instagram like, yo, like we're going for something like this, whatever. He's like, yo, you're the good content versus bad content guy. I'm like, do you not see my name in the bio?
Yeah. That definitely stings.
But it was funny.
Quick shout out to a guy, Steve Cardigan. Have you seen AM Radio?
AM radio?
Yeah.
No.
It's sick, dude. This coffee club thing is taking over. I think I've talked about it before, where there's like 7 different coffee clubs any given weekend in Austin. But they kind of run one of the originals out in LA, and he's very much a thought leader in that space. Dude, their content, it should almost be a breakdown of why AM radio is successful compared to all of the other ones that are popping up right now as the power of short form video, because Steve himself is such a good creator. He does an amazing job setting the table, talking about where everything's going to be.
I don't know who you're talking about.
And, meanwhile, a lot of these other coffee clubs are, struggling on the content side, kind of just, capturing demand. And it's a testament to, like, if you can master short form, then you will win your market. I actually think it is that straightforward. Like, if you can because that's just being a better marketer, So, but yeah, shout out Steve. I ran into him. He's a fan of the pod, and he's throwing some dope events. So, really cool.
I ask where you sent it to me because, for context, Brian was in our Slack. I had to kick him out. This is more so funny to be like, I could be arguing with somebody on the team or like, like, yo, why aren't you doing this? Like, we need this done. And Brian would go like randomly just go in there and chirp or like drop a LOL in a very serious conversation. And he was never active in anything. He would just go like instigate and like make things worse. So I had to give Brian the boot.
Alex's employee happiness went down when I got booted from the Slack, but I think his ARR has probably tripled or quadrupled because all I was doing was just stirring up chaos. So that's a new social channel that I think people need to look at. And then the other side of things that I wanted to talk about today was just we talk about enemy marketing on this podcast quite a bit, but I continue to think that is probably the best way to build what you like to talk about narrative building quite a bit.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to get at though is the way that people need to narrative build, like you just need to study how creators build their brand over 10 years, build authenticity and trust, and then think about how you can do that for your brand. Any normal person can do this. I've referenced the Matcha Girl before. I was talking about Ryan Trahan on Instagram the other day, who is like an Austin YouTuber. He's huge, right? Obviously, this guy's mastered content, storytelling, all sorts of stuff like that. So he knew that when he was building his company, Joyride Sweets, the most important thing he could do is create a mission. We're going to disrupt Big Candy. Big Candy has a lot of things that are bad about it. Everyone subtly knows that. But Ryan was actually able to tell people what those things were in a way that was very socially digestible. So he's talking about, we got to disrupt Big Candy because they're the ones giving you cavities, or we got to disrupt Big Candy because they're including all of these ingredients that are petroleum derivatives, right? Like he's delivering value in a way that's socially entertaining and native. And that type of style is all that will exist in like 10 years. Like if you can't deliver that sort of experience through your social content, which is value first, narrative building against a broader enemy, then I don't think you're going to have a chance.
So a funny story actually about Ryan was when I was a CMO Collective, there's a back room that you can kind of work at, and it used to be like a yoga room or something along those lines. And so I'm in there working, and all of a sudden this group comes in and they put their stuff on the TV, right? And it's like this whole creative team. And I'm just kind of like, you're working, but you're listening when something catches your attention. So I'm listening, and I don't know who Ryan Trahan is at all, like at this point. It's 2-3 years ago. Like, that's not ever been my kind of YouTube, but for sure. Obviously he's an amazing creator.
He's like a macro YouTuber. He's like the big kind, like huge, like Mr. Beast adjacent.
In that world.
Hopefully he doesn't hate that if he sees this.
Yeah. And so I'm in there and I'm listening to them, and I'm hearing, dude, the entire behind the scenes of the Penny series that he did.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going through analytics. They're like breaking down the next videos that they're filming, how it needs to be edited. Dude, I shut down everything I was doing and I just started ripping notes.
Really?
For everything. It was so interesting.
That's crazy.
To hear the behind the scenes of, YouTube channel. I don't know how many millions of subscribers he has.
I think it's like 10. It's like a lot.
It's huge.
Yeah.
To hear all of the back end data and like hear them just talking about, okay, like how we need to be doing this.
20.
Oh, okay.
I
feel hype about getting 1,000 subs.
Yeah. 20 is, dude, that's insane, man.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was so cool. It was super cool just hearing all of that. Like it was such an interesting moment. And then it all clicked. But you know who's actually really, really tight with him is Nick Ivy.
Yeah,
They're
I
like
know.
best friends.
Yeah, he'd be a great. I mean, I would love to have him on the pod one day, Ryan.
Yeah,
that'd be sick because
super cool.
He's one of those guys. I think what's really underrated about these YouTubers that are so mainstream, and you know, I'm looking at his most recent viral video is I tried every Airbnb category. That's a huge addressable market. He creates content for the biggest possible set of people to be able to entertain by it. And I think what's crazy is people view that content. It's almost how people view copywriting that's extremely simple and clear as not hard to reproduce.
Yep.
I think these YouTubers are in the same way that a master copywriter, and this isn't groundbreaking stuff, but like this guy's just a genius at understanding packaging and content and how to get ideas out to people at scale. Be cool to talk to him about it.
And I don't think people understand. Yeah, it sounds easy to be a YouTuber. I've talked to Nick about it, and he's like, yo, Ryan's traveling for like the next 2 weeks. He's going for a video like that, or he had a video that's like, I say in these different Airbnbs, he like flew to the most deserted Airbnb possible, was there for 48 hours, then flew all the way across the world to here to stay in another Airbnb, then like finished in Austin at some other Airbnb. It's like, I know that sounds fun in theory.
No.
But going across the world twice in 72 hours, 96 hours.
It's crazy.
There's no way, like that's not an easy thing. And then to have that video published in say 3-4 days after it's filmed is the other part of it. Like, you know, I just put out my first YouTube video and I've had it sitting since November. You know what I mean? Like, like, And it was just something shot posting, right here.
You're wearing 3 layers and it's March in Austin. We knew that wasn't filmed yesterday.
Yeah, exactly, bro. Like I'm wearing like a thick minted New York jacket, a hoodie underneath. Yeah.
You got a beanie on.
Yeah, bro. Like that shit was filmed a long time ago.
Yeah.
So it's not easy, but anyways, I got a meeting in 8 minutes. So
yeah, I mean that's the biggest thing that I just want to, you know, if you are a small brand looking to stand out, pick an enemy. You have to pick an enemy, whether that's a big industry, a big incumbent competitor, or a behavior. You know, I think so many brands do a great job with the behavior side of things. The Matilda Yerf, the lady I talked about yesterday, she picked an enemy, which was fast fashion. So all of her pieces are timeless, right? So that's how you kind of zig when everyone else is zagging. It's like, you don't necessarily have to say, I am better than Zara.
Yeah.
Zara sucks. You can say,
brother,
I love Zara.
It's my daughter's name for context.
And your daughter is even better. But like, you named her after the store. I know you named her after the Paris Zara. You got in there, it got so many crazy fits.
I forgot I told you to hit the Paris Zara. Paris Zara is OD.
It's OD.
It's
OD. It's different. But yeah, so pick an enemy, right? Like that's how you're going to stand out. That's how you're going to actually, because people need to understand what you do and why they should care, right? They predisposition is they don't care about you at all. So instead of actually just getting washed away with everyone else, try and stand out.
Yep. Dialed.
Cool.
All right, guys. That's a wrap on the episode. Please like, subscribe. I think we're going to take this to 2 episodes a week. We'll do that once we get to 10,000 subs. So if you want us drop in more sauce, drop in more knowledge.
And by the way,
subscribe, please.
We said comment for the resource last week. Noticing a lot of y'all commenting are not subscribed. We get a little red dot next to your name. We see it. So if you're going to leave a comment, you want us to really notice it, you got to be subscribed. Otherwise,
text me about the swipe file. So I do need you to send it to me.
It's nibble branded. That ain't no sweat equity. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, I'll send it to you.
Should I brand it sweat equity?
I don't care, dude.
It's up to you. It's your swipe file.
Yeah, it's for the community. All right, we'll catch y'all next week.
See ya.